Well, the day had finally come. School was out, and I had the whole summer ahead of me. But now, what was I going to do with those 3 whole months? Hey, a pretty good stack of mail, probably bills and ads. You too can have muscles like Charles Atlas. What's this? Lake Forest Ranch? A dude ranch for teenagers. Say, might be just the thing for summer. Let's see. Horses, tennis, speedboat. Man, they've got everything, even water skiing. Wonder if I could really learn how. That does it. I better check with Mom right away. Well, I was soon on my way. Didn't take much convincing when she found out it was Lake Forest. She'd already heard about it and said it was a fine place. I soon found out it sure looked great. Big pines and a terrific lake. Soon as I arrived, I met one of the staff who took me into the trading post to register. It didn't take long, and we were soon on our way to the bunkhouse. Just a look around, and I was sure I was in for a great time. We stopped and talked to some of the other fellows that had just arrived, and they seemed like real great guys. Things didn't really start until supper, so I just sort of wandered around to take a good look at the ranch. There was surely going to be plenty to do. Some things I'd never tried before. One of those things that I was really looking forward to was water skiing. Say, they can ski pretty good for girls. Wonder if I'll have that good of luck. Soon it was time for supper. Man, the meals they serve at the ranch are the greatest. Ham, chicken, barbecue, it was terrific. But it wasn't just the food. There were a swell bunch of kids there. I met one of the girls I had seen skiing. Her name was Julie, and she was from Mobile. She told me that water skiing was easy and that she was sure I could learn. Right after supper, we had a get-acquainted party in the lodge. I had never seen anything like it. Some of the stunts they pulled were really cool. I found out the kids had come from all around. Tennessee, Louisiana, Alabama, Florida, and a lot of other places, even Texas. The littlest cowboy told us some of his adventures. And then Jimmy Lake, one of the world's top magicians, did some magic for us. Jimmy's from Toronto, Canada, and was going to be at the ranch all week. Some of the best stuff at the party was done by the staff. Dick Schertz, the director of the ranch, and Ed Bird did a takeoff on Jimmy Lake. Dick was supposed to be teaching Ed a trick with a bandana, but Ed got confused with a banana. It's pretty hard to fold over a banana. Harder still to squeeze it and stuff it in your hand. But everything came out okay, and Ed finally produced the bandana. After the party, there was just time for a quick trip to the canteen. Then it was time to turn in. I was already tired and ready for the sack. Besides, I wanted to be ready for all the things that were on deck tomorrow.
Lights out. All over Lake Forest Ranch, it's time for lights out.
Bright and early Monday morning, right after breakfast and some of the morning necessary activities, I was ready to try that skiing. On the way down to the lake, I passed some of the kids that were busy practicing their cheers for their team. The whole ranch was divided into teams, and some keen competition was run off on all kinds of different sports, complete with cheering sections and pep rallies. Well, right now I was going to try the skiing. Maybe I wouldn't win any prize, but I was sure going to give it the old college try. Well, about ready to get my foot wet. Did I say foot or face? And look at that, would you? That Julie standing there laughing. Even at powwow, I kept thinking of that girl laughing at me. But just wait, I'd show her. I soon forgot about it, though, for the moment. Dick Schertz was speaking, and I'll long remember some of those talks by the lake under the pines. The time seemed to pass so quickly. We were on our way to the chuck wagon for dinner, and then all afternoon for recreation. But I had lots of work to do, namely, learning to water ski. The week really flew along. I got a letter one day at mail call and realized it was Thursday already. This was the big day. First, the playoffs of the water basketball tournament, and then I was going to show that Julie what I'd learned from the ski instructor. After a little time to let some of that chicken pie digest, I was off for the lake. The game was really terrific. This was something I'd never played before, but it was great. As the staff would joke, there are only two rules. Throw the ball in if it goes outside, and you can't hold a guy under more than 5 minutes. Well, we squeezed the game out, and I hoped that I'd be picked for the all-star team that would play the staff that night after the youth rally. Now it was time to see about that skiing. This time I didn't fall on my face. In fact, I did pretty well, if I do say so myself. I had a date with Julie later that afternoon for tennis, and I could hardly wait to see her face. Guess she wouldn't be laughing now. Look, Ma, one ski. Well, I guess it's right that you can never figure girls out. Imagine, she never said a thing about my skiing. Well, they say a man's best friend is his dog, but I sure wish I had room at home to keep a horse. Then I could make like the Lone Ranger every day. There's some great places to ride around Lake Forest. Acres and acres of timber and trails, deer, quail, wild turkey. It's some place. But it was time to head Trigger home. I still had a date. Thought I'd give her one more chance. In the canteen, Julie and I ran into Dick Schertz, and guess what? She presented me as the skier most likely to succeed. Now there's an intelligent girl. Dick took us over to meet Mr. Texas, Red Harper. He was the featured speaker that week, a real swell guy. I remember seeing him in Billy Graham's films, Mr. Texas and Oil Town, USA.
Okay, gang, time for supper. Chow in the chuck wagon right away. Come and get it before we throw it out.
After supper, there was still time for a game of shuffleboard before going to the evening youth rally. The youth rally was really one of the highlights at Lake Forest and a big boost to my own Christian life. The music and programs were terrific. Geared to young people, they were sharp and different. And it was really something to hear a fellow like Red Harper tell what Christ meant to him, to hear him sing and give his testimony.
And now, here he is, Mr. Texas himself, Red Harper. Howdy. These that little number so many of you requested me to sing. You laid your hand, mighty Lord, on the ring. Laid your wonderful hand on the prairie. Lord, you poured forth the fountain, raised up the mountain. Oh, Lord, keep your mighty hand on me. Touched your clouds, made them rain. From the rain made the sea. From the sea formed the cloud to give us life abundantly. You have the earth and the sky in your command, Lord. Oh, please keep your precious hand on me. You know, I'm so glad that I heard God say, Behold, the Lord's hand is not shortened that it cannot save, neither is his ear heavy that he cannot hear. And I cried out to him as a poor lost sinner, the old sinner's prayer, Lord, be merciful to me, a sinner, and save me. And he heard me, and he reached way down into the miry clay of sin in Hollywood, California, and lifted me up and set me on the solid rock, Jesus Christ. Yes, Lord, I know you touched your clouds, made them rain. From the rain made the sea. From the sea formed the clouds to give us life abundantly. You have the earth and the sky in your command, Lord. Oh, please keep your precious hand on me.
And so the week ended, and it was time for lights out. I lay in bed and thought of the great week it had been. The surprises that were in store most every day. The swell kids I'd met. The wonderful sports. The new things I'd learned. The terrific lake with all the water sports. The talks from the staff right down where you live. The crazy stunts. All of it made this one of the greatest weeks of my life. So the next morning, after telling the gang goodbye, it was time to head for home. But there was one thing sure, I would be back. Once home, the first thing I did was telephone my buddies. I wanted them to get in on Lake Forest Ranch, too. It didn't take much talk. A few words about the horses, water skiing, good chow, and first thing you know, I had 3 or 4 going. We weren't going to wait for next summer either, but we're going back this year, if they had a place for us. Say, why don't you join us at Lake Forest?